Okay, now before I get into the thick of the book, I have to let you know that this book is not divided into chapters apart from that first section, so I'm going to go by page. So, page 1. A warrior of the light knows that he has much to be grateful for. Angels help him in his struggle. Celestial forces place each thing in its path, thus allowing him to give his best. His companions say, he is so lucky, and the warrior does sometimes achieve things far beyond his capabilities. That is why, at sunset, he kneels and gives thanks to the protective cloak surrounding him. His gratitude, however, is not limited to the spiritual world. He never forgets his friends, for their blood mingled with his on the battlefield. A warrior does not need to be reminded of the help given to him by others. He is the first to remember, and he makes sure to share with them any rewards he receives. Page 2. One of my particular favorites. All the world's roads lead to the heart of the warrior. He plunges unhesitatingly into the river of passions always flowing through his life. The warrior knows that he is free to choose his desires, and he makes these decisions with courage, detachment, and sometimes with just a touch of madness. He embraces his passions and enjoys them intensely. He knows that there is no need to renounce the pleasures of conquest. They are part of life and bring joy to those who participate in them. But he never loses sight that last or of the strong bonds forged over time. A warrior can distinguish between the transient and the enduring. Page 3. A warrior of the light does not rely on strength alone. He makes use of his opponent's energy too. When he enters the fight, all he has is his enthusiasm. The moves and strikes that he learned during his training. And as the fight progresses, he discovers that enthusiasm and training are not enough to win. What counts as experience. Then he opens his heart to the universe and asks God to give him the inspiration he needs to turn every blow from his enemy into a lesson in self-defense. His companions say, he's so superstitious. He stopped fighting in order to pray. He even shows respect for his opponent's tricks. A warrior does not respond to these provocations. He knows that without inspiration and experience, no amount of training will help him. Page 4. A warrior of the light never resorts to trickery, but he knows how to distract his opponents. No matter how anxious he is, he uses every strategy at his disposal to gain his objective. When he sees that his strength is almost gone, he makes his enemy think that he is simply biding his time. When he needs to attack the right flank, he moves his troops to the left. If he intends beginning the battle at once, he pretends that he is tired and prepares for sleep. His friends say, "Look, he's lost all enthusiasm," but he pays no attention to such remarks because his friends do not understand his tactics. A warrior of light knows what he wants, and he has no need to waste time on explanations. Number 5. A wise Chinese man has this to say about the strategies of a warrior of the light. Convince your enemy that he will gain very little by attacking you. This will diminish his enthusiasm. Do not be ashamed to make a temporary withdrawal from the field if you see that your enemy is stronger than you. It is not winning or losing a single battle that matters, but how the war ends. Even if you are strong, never be ashamed to feign weakness. This will make your enemy act imprudently and attack too soon. In war, the key to victory is the ability to surprise one's opponent. Page 6. It's odd, the warrior of light says to himself. I have met so many people who, at their first opportunity, try to show their very worst qualities. They hide their inner strength behind aggression and hide their fear of loneliness behind an air of independence. They do not believe in their own abilities, but are constantly trumpeting their virtues. A warrior reads these messages in many of the men and women he meets. He is never taken in by appearances and makes a point of remaining silent when people try to impress him. He uses these occasions to correct his own faults, for other people make an excellent mirror. A warrior takes every opportunity to teach himself. Page 7. The warrior of the light sometimes fights with those he loves. The man who defends his friends is never overwhelmed by the storms of life. He is strong enough to come through difficulties and carry on. He does, however, often face challenges from those he is trying to teach the art of the sword. His disciples prove him into fighting with them, and the warrior demonstrates his abilities. With just a few blows, he disarms his students, and harmony returns to the place where they meet. "Why bother to do that when you are so much better than they are?" asks the trapper. "Because in challenging me, what they really want is to talk to me, and this is my way of keeping the dialogue open." Page 8. Before embarking on an important battle, a warrior of the light asks himself, "How far have I developed my abilities?" He knows that he has learned something with every battle that he has fought, but many of those lessons have caused him unnecessary suffering. More than once he has wasted his time fighting for a lie, and he has suffered for people who did not deserve his love. Victors never make the same mistake twice. That is why the warrior only risks his heart for something worthwhile. Page 9. The warrior of the light respects the main teaching of the I Ching. To persevere is favorable. He knows that perseverance is not the same thing as insistence. There are times when battles go on longer than necessary, draining him of strength and enthusiasm. At such moments, the warrior thinks, a prolonged war finally destroys the victors too. Then he withdraws his troops from the battlefield and allows himself a respite. He perseveres in his desire, but he knows he must wait for the best moment to attack. A warrior always returns to the fray. He never does so out of stubbornness, but because he has noticed a change in the weather. Number 10. A warrior of the light knows that certain moments repeat themselves. He often finds himself faced by the same problems and situations, seeking these difficult situations return. He grows depressed, thinking that he is incapable of making any progress in life. "I've been through all of this before," he says to his heart. "Yes, you have been through all of this before," replies his heart, "but you have never been beyond it." Then the warrior realizes that these repeated experiences have but one aim, to teach him what he does not want to learn. Page 11. A warrior of the light is never predictable. He might dance down the street on his way to work, gaze into the eyes of a complete stranger and speak of love at first sight, or defend an apparently absurd idea. Warriors of the light allow themselves days like these. He is not afraid to weep over ancient sorrows or feel joy at new discoveries. When he feels that the moment has arrived, he drops everything and goes off on some long-dreamed-of adventure. When he realizes that he can do no more, he abandons the fight, but never blames himself for having committed a few unexpected acts of folly. A warrior does not spend his days trying to play the role that others have chosen for him. Page 12. Warriors of the light always have a certain gleam in their eyes. They are of this world. They are part of the lives of other people, and they set out on their journey with no saddlebags and no sandals. They are often cowardly. They do not always make the right decisions. They suffer over the most trivial things. They have mean thoughts and sometimes believe they are incapable of growing. They frequently deem themselves unworthy of any blessing or miracle. They are not always quite sure of what they are doing here. They spend many sleepless nights believing that their lives have no meaning. That is why they are warriors of light. Because they make mistakes, because they ask themselves questions, because they are looking for a reason, that they are surely one to find them. Page 13. The warrior of the light does not worry that to others his behavior might seem quite mad. He talks out loud to himself when he is alone. Someone told him that this is the best way of communicating with the angels and divine, and so he takes a chance and tries to make contact. At first, he finds this difficult. He finds that he has nothing to say, that he will just repeat the same meaningless twaddle. Even so, the warrior persists. He spends all day talking to his heart. He says things with which he does not agree. He even talks utter nonsense. One day, he notices a change in his voice. He realizes that he is acting as a channel for some higher wisdom. The warrior may seem mad, but this is just a disguise. Page 14. According to a poet, the warrior of the light chooses his enemies. He knows what he is capable of. He does not have to go about the world boasting of his qualities and virtues. Nevertheless, there is always someone who wants to prove himself better than he is. For the warrior, there is no better or worse. Everyone has the necessary gifts for his particular path. But certain people persist. They provoke and offend and do everything they can to irritate him. At that point, his heart says, "Do not respond to these insults. They will not increase your abilities, and you will tire yourself needlessly." A warrior of light does not waste his time listening to provocations. He has a destiny to fulfill. Page 15. The warrior of the light remembers a passage from John Bunyan. "Although I have been through all that I have, I do not regret the many hardships I met, because it was they who brought me to the place I wished to reach. Now all I have is this sword, and I give it to whoever wishes to continue his pilgrimage. I carry with me the marks and scars of battles. They are the witnesses of what I suffered and the rewards of what I conquered. These are the beloved marks and scars that will open the gates of paradise to me. There was a time when I used to listen to tales of bravery. There was a time when I lived only because I needed to live. But now, I live because I am a warrior and because I wish one day to be in the company of him for whom I have fought so hard." Page 16. The moment that he begins to walk it, the warrior of the light recognizes the path. Each stone, each bend cries welcome to him. He identifies with the mountains and the streams. He sees something of his own soul in the plants and the animals and the birds of the field. Then, accepting the help of God or the universe, and of God or the universe's signs, he allows his personal legend to guide him toward the tasks that life has reserved for him. On some nights he has nowhere to sleep. On others he suffers from insomnia. That's just how it is, thinks the warrior. After all, I was the one who chose to walk this path. In these words lies all of his power. He chose the path along which he is walking, and thus he has no complaints. Page 17. From now on, and for the next few hundred years, the universe is going to help warriors of the light and hinder the prejudiced. The Earth's energy needs to be renewed. New ideas need space. Body and soul need new challenges. The future has become the present, and every dream, except those dreams that involve preconceived ideas, will have a chance to be heard. Anything of importance will remain. Anything useless will disappear. It is not the warrior's responsibility, however, to judge the dreams of others, and he does not waste time criticizing other people's decisions. In order to have faith in his own path, he does not need to prove that someone else's path is wrong. Page 18. A warrior of the light carefully studies the position that he intends to conquer. However difficult the objective, there is always a way of overcoming obstacles. He seeks out alternate paths. He sharpens his sword. He tries to fill his heart with the necessary determination to face the challenge. But as he advances, the warrior realizes that there are difficulties he had not reckoned with. If he waits for the ideal moment, he will never set off. The warrior requires a touch of madness to take the next step. The warrior uses that touch of madness, for in both love and war, it is impossible to foresee everything. Page 19. A warrior of the light knows his own faults, but he also knows his qualities. Some of his companions complain all the time that other people have more opportunities than we do. Perhaps they are right, but a warrior does not allow himself to be paralyzed by this. He tries to make the most of his virtues. He knows that the gazelle's power lies in its strong legs. The power of the seagull lies in the accuracy with which it can spear a fish. He has learned that the reason the tiger does not fear the hyena is because he is aware of his own strength. He tries to establish what he can truly rely on, and he always checks that he carries three things with him: faith, hope, and love. If these three things are there, he does not hesitate to go forward. Page 20. The warrior of the light knows that no one is stupid, that life teaches everyone, however long that may take. He always does his best and expects the best of others. Through his generosity, he tries to show each person how much they are capable of achieving. Some of his companions say, "Some people are so ungrateful." The warrior is not discouraged by this, and he continues to encourage others because this is also a way of encouraging himself. Page 21. Every warrior of late has felt afraid of going into battle. Every warrior of late has, at some point in time in the past, lied or betrayed someone. Every warrior of the light has trodden a path that was not his. Every warrior of light has suffered for the most trivial of reasons. Every warrior of light has, at least once, believed that he was not a warrior of the light. Every warrior of the light has failed in his spiritual duties at some point. Every warrior of the light has said yes when he wanted to say no. Every warrior of the light has hurt someone he loved. That is why he is a warrior of light, because he has been through all this and yet has never lost hope of being better than he is. Right?